Are you going to
I
get your
found my
producer hat?
producer hat, Jordan. I did.
Very
I put
exciting.
it where I wouldn't forget it. Welcome to the Dropout Drop-In. I'm gonna wear this unironically for a few minutes and then probably switch back because I'm gonna watch it tilt on my head the whole time. I'm Liz, and this is
Jordan, hello.
Jordan.
We're
We've never
back.
we've never started that before, but yeah, we're back. Entirely my fault that there's been no episode for a minute. No, it very much.
Nothing important happened in the weeks we were gone. No shows finales happened. Nothing. It's all fine.
Literally nothing. I wish Dropout would do more, actually. No, we've
Giving
got
up
it.
so early on the hat.
After 20 seconds, I can feel it slipping off my huge head. Fun fact about me, I've got a big old head, which is why I wear baseball hats, because baseball hats are designed for people with big heads. We've got a lot to talk about
Hey,
this week.
shout out to Dropout merch. I also have a huge dome, and their hats. It's the first time that I'm not on like one. If like you like the little like clips at the end, that I'm not on like one or like two at best. Like I'm on like 4 or 5 with their hats. Like it's stunning that they've
Big
made hats
dome
for giant. Yeah.
representation. I'm obsessed. I'm so glad to know that I should now order a Dropout hat, because honestly, I don't order merch hats because I just assume they're not going to fit.
No, they're good. They're good hats.
Oh, I'm thrilled. Wow, off to a thrilling start this week. We've got a lot to cover this episode. Just to give the headlines before we jump into everything, we're going to talk about the very important People finale, the Dimension 20 Fantasy High Junior Year finale. We're going to talk about the Emmys and answer some of the burning questions that have been coming up on TikTok and in the YouTube comments. And we're going to speculate wildly about that friggin' game changer trailer that dropped.
So good.
So good. And Thousandaires premieres this week, and we're going to speculate about all of it.
Yeah, we're starting VIP, right? Ogbert, the magic that was that episode. Yeah.
Ogbert. Little claps for Ogbert, everybody. Now, Jordan, I think we rightfully called that the Brennan episode would be shocking, that it would be out of this world. Did you have any... No, I can't even finish my thought. You just had no idea going into it that it was going to be that.
At no point did I think that Brennan and Vic would yes and each other into a fully dream state nightmare that is a lot of the season. I'm not entirely sure. So good, like, because obviously we get the Denzel reference to the guest house. We wake up to Avery Goodman's clock radio playing Princess Emily's song. It's just magic,
Absolute magic. And it's incredible that, like, we know in the sequential order that Brennan and Izzy shot the same day, and Brennan shot before Izzy did, but they knew when they were shooting it that that was going to be the finale episode, just by the virtue of how bananas it was. I was shocked by how different Brennan's approach to it was from everybody else. Like, it really made me realize how some episodes had similar, like, moments of build or had similar angles that they hit in terms of, like, their highs and lows and breaks and whatnot. Brennan is just on another continent of how he approached this whole thing.
Yeah, it was magic. It was pure magic to watch. I know we've talked a bit about season 2. I talked to Tamar last week. Oh, that interview hasn't gone live yet. That's my plug for the Patreon this week. My Tamar interview. My first question to Tamar, the director of Very Important People, is what the hell was that?
What the hell was that? Period.
And,
I love it.
But yeah, we talked a bit about season 2. I talked a little bit about season 2 with her, and you know, the I guess the headline is there will be more episodes than season 1, and that they have more of a runway to produce, and so there will be more customized prosthetics made because Alex and team have more time to do that because the show was so popular, obviously, that they are investing more time and energy into it. But like one of the things that we didn't talk about, but you know, like that thought of, will there be repeat guests? Not guests, obviously, but actors playing someone
different
new.
characters.
Yes. And you know, the thing is, they are all so brilliant. Any one of them could come back and crush it immediately. But I just want Brennan every season. I want Brennan to be the finale every season. I want it to be the weirdest thing imaginable.
I completely agree. And I pitched Vic on exactly that in my interview with Vic, plug for my YouTube, which I'm sure there's a few of you that are watching Jordon and Liz for the first time because of the interview, and a few people that are like, what the hell are you talking about? I, in my chat with Vic, said, send Ogbert to Newfoundland. Shoot season 2 finale with Ogbert in, like, the dreamscape, the dreamland. Go into Vic's mind and shoot it live on location.
Just that, the beat, oh, you're Canadian. So perfect. So perfect.
So, here's a fun look into our Jordon and Liz friends outside of recording this. I mean, I don't know if Jordon thinks we're friends, but I think we are, and I treat our DMs as such. And I, no context, sent Jordon, let me pull it up, the photo I sent you as I was watching live. I assumed you were just watching it live, and you weren't. So you got...
Correct. I very rarely am watching live.
I send the most horrifying selfie of me watching the episode, like, when Brennan pulled the Canadian line. You had zero... I thought for sure you would know in the moment. Nope. No idea.
Nope. Yeah, so I have an almost 3-year-old who goes to bed at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, which means the shows are a full, usually hour and a half before I have seen them out. So, yeah, I'm never... I should say virtually never watching live.
Stay out of Jordan's DMs when you're watching episodes live.
It does not stop people from DMing me as they are watching them live. But thankfully, I usually just don't open my DMs once an episode has started.
Listen, that's fair. And also, I'm also going to forget that, even though you've said this now to my face, there's no way there's going to be a night where I'm not like, oh my god, Jordon, and I'm like, oh god, add an hour and a half to that.
Yeah.
So note it for all of us. Stay out of Jordan's comments and DMs as much as you can to help lessen the load of people spoiling for you. Now that we've seen the season as a whole, and we've walked season 1 of Very Important People, are you prepared to give your top 3 episodes of the season?
So I think Nana is still my top episode of the season. I think it is the most incredible piece of improv maybe ever filmed.
Yeah.
And then I think it's Ogbert for a very similar reason, and then Tommy Shrigley at number 3 for truly just the hardest I've laughed in so long.
That's so fair. I'm gonna switch things up because I'm with you on 2 or 3 of those. Lisa Gilroy Nan, 100%. I've said it. Canadian Comedy Hall of Fame. Like, that was unbelievable. Tommy Shrigley, also unbelievable what they did in that episode. But Denzel. And I said, if you go back to the Dropout Drop-In early on, I said that Denzel was going to stay in my top 3, and he did. And I've been honestly thinking about it, and I had a new thought occur to me. I feel like every episode I drop a new fact about why I like that episode so much, but this week's reason why I think the Denzel episode is great, Vic had nothing to play off of, because that alien mask did not move the entire conversation. Vic had hand motions, some body language, and tone, and that was literally it.
Yeah, I mean, another rave for how good of an improviser Vic is. And it also probably helps that the person under all of that latex is someone you know very, very well, and probably know, feel comfortable enough to be like, I know where we can go with this.
100%.
That you perform with regularly. But yeah, Denzel, look, there are no bad episodes. That's for sure.
In reflection of something Vic said in our interview, they said, I'm paraphrasing, but it was something to the effect of, host Vic stays grounded in wanting to be the best reporter they can be.
Yes.
And I was thinking about that in the context of the Denzel episode. And host Vic got the scoop that aliens are formally invading Earth, and the bigger story was Denzel stayed in my guest house.
Yeah. So
Very
good.
funny.
Yeah. The episode I keep thinking it just randomly pops back into my head is Josh's Dr. Milk and Kep. I never remember his name, which is even funnier that I can't actually remember his name. Because I every once in a while I just think back, I'm like, God, that was magic. Like,
it was.
Josh Rubin being able to do puppeteering like that, who knew? And the entire the entire storyline of host Vic falling in love with a puppet, it's just so stupid and so good.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And Vic, like, we always talk about how much Vic goes for it, and that is one of the episodes where Vic goes for it in a way they did not in any other episode. It's remarkable. It's remarkable. Yeah. It's funny how when you have time to sit with something, it becomes even funnier.
Yeah.
And that was one of the episodes for me, the more I think about it. Same with BDG's. The more I think about BDG's, like, light, aloof tone as he's, like, walking through all these, like, brain, like, simulation things he has on deck. Like, it's just very, very funny the more I sit with it.
I mean, everybody give me a little clap. Definitely probably the line that's going to stay with me for the longest. But vote for me or else vote for the other guy is also going to be in my brain forever.
Forever. I have to admit, and I say this in full truth, if anything has come into my daily lexicon from very important people, there's two things. It's singing I Am American #1 Superstar, which is very funny as a Canadian. Like, that's part of why I find that so funny. And also, he stepped on my mom. I say that to myself all the time. He stepped on my mom. Like, Allie
so
Beardsley.
Good. Yeah.
So good. Anything coming into your daily vocab from the show?
Ooh, I don't know. I mean, a little clap, I think, is the thing that's been the most. If you watch my TikToks, you know that it's just fully invaded. Every time I'm like complimentary of something, I say, everybody give it a little clap.
Yep.
Yeah, that one I think is probably the one that is the most in my brain. Although I will, it hasn't entered my lexicon, but I will think about you carry your rocks until you find a place to set them down that you love for the rest of my life, in a haunting way.
I think Dropout needs to make a little, like, garden sign that you can, like, stick in your garden that says that. I think that'd be lovely.
Yes.
I'd buy it.
Yeah.
I'd buy it. Dropout, just more ideas for you from us
I know,
for free.
I know they don't like unsolicited merch ideas, but Randy, if you're watching, please make the things.
Listen, only us and all of the subscribers of this podcast will know. Okay? It'll be a closed group. Listen,
right.
We're not that big yet. We got a little small community. We love y'all. We can all keep this internal. Let's talk about the Dimension 20 finale, shall we? We're going to pile through these stories this week. We've got so much to talk about. Dimension 20 finale. I watched this finale with my best friend. One of the only episodes of the season we were able to watch together. Oh man, we had a ball. Oh man, it was fun to watch and react to in real time and see Gorgug and Marianne finally get together. Just
the bench.
Nuts. Just crazy.
Such a good finale. Just everything you want in is this the last time we will see these characters? If yes, that's fine. A beautiful send-off. If no, I can't wait for more. Like really leaves open. Like, obviously we get, I mean, look, do I want to see Buddy Dawn and Baccarat? Is that the name of his tiny?
Baccarat.
Obviously, I want to see that. I want to see Adine hunt down her mother, of course. But like, if that's the end, that's the end. I am certainly not one of the people in multiple videos and comment section I've seen now where they're like, "When is senior year?" I'm like, calm down. Not for years.
Go back a few steps, everybody. Yeah, it's not going to be like this winter.
Yeah.
Also, the amount of time it's going to take to develop what the correct senior year approach is. Like, talk about a finale to end all finales. That's going to be, unless they decide to do, like, university, year one, whatever, like college, freshman year, college.
Just do freshman year again, but it's college this time. So
exactly.
It's Dimension 20, Fantasy High, freshman year, college.
I think that's perfect. I think that's solid. Looking back on the season, because there's a lot we could say about, like, the finale itself, but I think that the internet discourse is going a long way, and I would love to talk more about the finale and the nature of Dimension 20 becoming TV with, like, Rowan on another episode. So maybe we'll park some of that for future times. But looking back on the season, same conversation is very important, people. What is, like, still in your brain, or, like, what is staying with you from this season?
I mean, obviously the reveal. Well, I mean, obviously Blimey, right? Like, there's your what's entered your lexicon, Blimey. And Blarmy. Good God.
Blarmy.
I laughed so hard I cried in, I think it was the adventuring party where Allie talked about how they had been practicing a British accent because it was so bad. Truly destroyed me. But yeah, I obviously Blimey. The Porter reveal, I mean, magic. We talked about it. The fact, like, using the projection on the dome for that. But
Beautiful.
man, that final battle set, the original like prom set ripped apart so that it can build, like, so I can't wait to get my hands on those Dimension 20 folks to chat about it.
For your inboxes, get ready.
I'm fully in all of their inboxes already. They've been hearing from me all day today.
So nice of you to give them some time to breathe after the finale. You gave them like a full couple business days and the holiday weekend.
Well, to be fair, I was messaging them prior to the finale. I just waited until after the finale to actually try to start scheduling things. So
you know what? I think that's more than fair. More than fair. I really want them to take the finale set apart and auction it off piece by piece for charity.
Yeah.
I think that's an obvious win to me. Is like get your own piece of lava or like one section of the floor gym. I think that'd be hilarious. I think there was like some minis in that set as well that are like some of my favorite minis we've seen on the show. When they made the minis kiss and like the Gorthalax was being used as like the temporary demon, like very funny, very like classic D&D moves. So good. The moment from the season that's still sticking out to me is the hoot growl animation on the screen, and I think it's because it was and it is so cool to see like the technological development of the show, but like that's the one thing, like, when I think about Madison Square Garden next year, it doesn't matter that they're playing on Sleeping City. Like, that whole place is going to be screaming hoot growl. Like, it's the community rallying cry that, like, infiltrated the show. You know what I mean? Like, obviously they started it, especially with, like, Fabian sharing it all the fucking time in season 1 and 2. But it really became something that I feel like the community has claimed ownership of in a different way. And then to see it projected on the screen, and it kind of, like, it felt like the representation of those words on the screen felt like all of us being in the dome with them. And I keep coming back to like pulling and building and having references in the animations and the graphics and everything that Kate May is doing. It feels like a way for the community to be present and immersed with them. It's like very, very meta to me. I really enjoy that.
Yeah, 100% agree. 2 questions for you. 1, do you think we'll get K2 at Madison Square Garden, since she is in Unsleeping City real world now?
In this world, why wouldn't she?
And then this is actually not a question. One of the other things that really stands out for me, and this is finale specific, good God, Brian Murphy is a phenomenal player. I just like understanding, like, and it is 100% like hugest shout out to his work on NADDPOD of like building interesting combats and understanding like what you can do in a combat. But that hold person like over the lava is I mean that's an Emily Axford level all-time move of just like holy shit, what a brilliant play.
100%. I completely agree. And I think that I don't know, like, if Murph maybe felt comfortable in Riz in a way he wasn't in other seasons. Like, in terms of, like, he talked a little bit off the top of the season when they did the cast interviews about how they switched Riz's subclass or like, they made some changes to the character to make
fully
it feel...
switched his subclass to Arcane Trickster.
Yeah, like, I don't know if, like, that was part of it or, like, it just felt... Or it could even be, like, the growth of season 2 and, like, Riz's whole emotional arc with his dad and kind of putting him in a different place. Riz felt like such a strong character this season in a way that Riz did not feel like that in other seasons. And I feel like that has a direct one-to-one with the way Murph was able to play that character. Plus, Brian Murphy is brilliant. And, like, we can talk about that all day.
Yeah, I mean, I think also, like, I think yes, and... like Murph's, like, because so specifically Fantasy High is so meta contextualized of like it is an adventuring academy. You are adventurers. You understand, like, maybe not exactly how D&D works, but like it's kind of there. Like you're taking barbarian classes, right? Like and so like it allows him to fully lean into I have meta knowledge of a thing that for any other season, he wouldn't do, because it would be, outside of like the world, and he would never like step on the toes of someone in that way. But because Riz can be like, no, actually, I've studied this. I understand the mechanics of it, and I, Murph, now get to like exploit it and utilize it to the best of my ability. I'm gonna jump in lava because I'm immune to fire damage. Like,
jump in lava.
Yeah.
So
incredible.
Good.
Yeah.
Well said. Well said. I want to give a bunch of little claps to whoever designed, and whoever in the most multiple sense of the word, whoever fucking designed Murph's wardrobe for this season. Fucking crushed. Murph showed up every episode in a cool ass shirt. Slay. I don't know if like Emily got on the internet and was like, I'm ordering you new shirts for this season. I don't know if the costume department was like, we're upping you a notch, but I just felt like whoever managed Murph's shirts this season deserves a little clap from me. He also looked like he was straight from like an all-time low music video or some shit, or like his outfit in the finale to me was like pulled directly from the MTV Awards. It was a 1-to-1.
I think that was a if we had young pictures of Murph in high school, I think we would have seen exactly what he was wearing then.
100%. And we all saw Siobhan's behind the scenes posts on Instagram, picking out and going shopping for all the little things. So funny.
Did you see Allie's weird like glove thing was sold out on Hot Topic's website? Because of course it is. Because Dimension 20 fans are lunatics.
And when everyone shows up to Madison Square Garden in full Metal Gear, like, what are the scanners gonna do? What are the metal scanners gonna say? So amazing. Funny. I have a game for us to play. One of my favorite things to do at the end of a season. And I invite everybody watching to play along with us in the comments. I took some screenshots, or found some screenshots from the season. I want to recap, like, Jordon, what happened to you out of context when Brennan said, didn't make you mad in real life? What was he talking about?
Look, I watched this episode at almost midnight, so I don't have any recollection of most very specific things. But
in your heart,
in my heart,
what are you talking about?
I mean, obviously, it is Marianne dying that made me mad in real life.
Yeah, 100%.
God, Marianne, say it, don't spray it. Oh, so good.
So good. The thing that I think Brennan was talking about when Brennan said, did it make you mad in real life? Brennan's talking about how little screen time Balthazar got in the final battle. I was furious.
His parrots. What's going to happen to his parrots?
What's going to happen to the parrots? You know what? They're going to go fly over to a court of Abria's Genius, whatever that show is called. And
Court
they're
of
gonna
Fame Flowers, yes.
Yeah, I call it a court of Abria's Genius. I'm going to go fly over to that show and hang out with the Squires, which, are you getting all of the memes on TikTok and all the fan edits? It feels like everyone's rewatching that show right now.
Yeah, boy, I don't know the name of the person who is doing Emily character cosplay, but it is truly fantastic, and I love it so much.
I saw the exact same one.
And OE, their handle is at SPCSHRK. That's difficult. Anyway, yeah.
Shout out to you.
Yeah.
And your cosplay. Making
Shout out
everyone
to Noe, I'm not sure. So good.
So accurate, too. I wish I had the time and talent to do things like that. I'm in awe of people that can nail it like that. Okay, what was happening when Zach was doing this?
I think that is Zach realizing that he is deeply in love with Marianne Scuttle. That is the moment that he's coming to terms with.
Come to Jesus moment. Yeah. This, I think, was Zach realizing that I now have to go listen to his entire podcast DMing, which I've not started.
It's very good.
Seeing him in the DM chair twice, this was my exact face on the couch. Very unfortunate for Liz that I now have another show that I'm deeply behind on.
I mean, it happens.
It was a matter of time.
Yeah. On the plus side, there was a good break in there where the show wasn't running. So, while you are several years behind, there was probably a full year where it was not being produced. And now Jasper is running it, and it's very fun again. It was always fun. It's
Thrilling.
fun again.
It's fun again. I'm thrilled to hear that. This is gonna be me when I get to hear Jasper DM on the pod. What was your take on I'm gonna hold on to this bit forever? What was happening?
Absolute magic. There is like look, here's what I do want to say. People think that is Emily's frog bucket hat from NADDPOD, and that timeline does not add up, gang. She got that hat so recently, and this filmed last year, like last May, June-ish, so like not the same bucket hat. Stop confusing the bucket hats. That's the bit I'm holding on to forever.
You know what? And you're right for it. And we know that the strawberries came from Siobhan's, Claire's shopping trip, which is thrilling. I don't know if these are Beardsley's glasses.
Have to be.
Yep. I will say the bit I'm going to hold on to forever is the fact that I am now ordering those horrendous red lens tinted glasses that Allie Beardsley was wearing a couple of adventuring parties ago. I didn't realize that was exactly what I needed until I watched the adventuring party and went, oh shit, that's what I need to buy. So I'm literally going to hold on to that bit forever. Thanks so much, Allie.
I'm going to hold on to the heaviest bubbles I've ever seen. Just shout out to whatever was in that little alien.
Squeam. 6 cortadas on a tray.
I was so close. We talked about this right before we started recording. My prediction for this season was Squeam was going to show up in the final battle unprompted. They obviously prompted very much, so like I was wrong on that part, but that he was then going to instantly be destroyed because I thought it would be very, very funny. And obviously not how it went. He showed up as the like hero that he is with 6 cortados. Just a joke that there's a bit that they'll never let go. Cortados, tea-based lemon cortados.
Shout out to the art department for bringing the bit to life in this historic way. This mini is going to be one of the top-selling minis of all time if they ever let it go.
Was that Jesse Heron? I think it was Jesse Heron who made the cortado tray. I believe so. So good. Yeah.
Chef's kiss. Incredible, incredible work. This is also what I look like when I show up to a day on set. If anyone was wondering, it's a sword, very much a sword in one hand, and very much 6 coffees for myself in my other hand. So this is the energy I bring to set. You squeam with 6 cortadas. That's it. Next week, we're getting even more. What's happening next week?
Next week, we're getting the trailer for Never Stop Blowing Up. We're going to get some cast news that I already know. But that is the only thing I know. I don't know any other details about the season, and I don't know all of the cast. I just know some. But yeah, I'm really excited to finally be proven right that they are not playing the kids on bikes system. That is the line I've drawn in the sand, that they don't, other than Dungeons and Drag Queens, for such a very specific reason, they don't name seasons after the game mechanic that they are using. That's not what it's going to be.
Yep. I think that's a very, very strong take. I think it's a very strong opinion. I've also been putting I can make the joke at putting my producer hat on. It's great. And thinking about the marketing of this season, and it's a very, very fun name for drawing people in versus Fantasy High Junior Year there's so many gates that name immediately puts up. It implies fantasy, which draws a certain audience away that shouldn't be drawn away, but some people just don't lean into that kind of wording. Junior year implies you've missed 3 years, which in fact you have. So you're like, it's such you're already gatekeeping in a way, but something like this I think is so open and fun and energetic just in the vibes of it that I'm excited to see how they're going to market the hell out of it. I think it could be a different kind of gate open for folks.
I should say the only other thing I know is a lot of guitar, apparently, that DJ Dumpster put together for the sound mix of it.
Thrilling.
I don't know why, but a lot of guitar.
Well, we will find out. Let's talk about, before we get into the Emmys conversation, let's talk about a cute few things that dropped. The Make Some Noise trailer. Hello.
So good. Yep.
I had a heart attack almost when I watched that. There was a lot planted in there for Liz specifically. What stood out to you though? Jumped out to you?
Obviously, Ben Schwartz jumped out huge. So thrilled for for Dropout to get Ben Schwartz. I mean, obviously, like, he was part of College Humor back in the day, but it was exciting to see him land in that spot because he will bring such good quality to that. Also, probably one of the only like successful long form improv video like a person who has filmed long form improv and made it successful.
If you have not watched it on Netflix, I implore you to. Yeah. I have seen those specials so many times I could write a thesis on them.
But obviously then, you know, like Pete Holmes, Rachel Bloom, I mean, Paul F. Tompkins we knew, but like those huge names, so exciting. The fact that like Rachel Bloom is flipping through clearly a karaoke book, meaning we're getting, I mean, obviously we were going to get a karaoke night again, but like meaning we're getting an incredibly talented musical improviser on a karaoke night a la Wayne Brady again. Super exciting.
It's thrilling. It's thrilling. And I think a lot about like that in the context of Make Some Noise being one of Dropout's key shows to pull viewers in. Like Make Some Noise and Game Changer, yes, but if you think about the Game Changer clips that did exceptionally well, went exceptionally viral, they're the clips that spun off into sub shows, including Make Some Noise. So I think a lot about how Make Some Noise is now almost at the top of the pyramid in terms of shows that convert subscribers. And they're bringing in all these big names to add to that like viral load that they know that they can push out. And it's very exciting to me in terms of like talking about Dropout's growth and expanding the audience. Like this is one of the vehicles that they do that. And they're launching it in the summer. It's like fun summer TV. It's
20 episodes.
20 episodes. Like
I'm wondering if that means we're going to be getting an episode every week.
God.
I can't imagine, because if they're not, it's till like May of next year. Like that's how long we would have, like, which great. I love it. That's fine. But I would be surprised if they did that, because then it would just immediately launch into the next season of Make Some Noise, which also not a bad thing. But presumably they'd want a bit of a gap between seasons.
I completely agree. And 20 episodes straight takes us to September, which takes us to like in traditional cable television modeling, your fall lineup, right? Which when you have your winter lineup, you have your fall lineup. Fall is hot cortada time to launch your new shows and like launch new projects and like be inventive and pitch new pilots out to audiences. Like that's why in the spring, LA is pilot season. You go audition for a bunch of shit, you film it, you put it out in the fall. That's a very, very condensed and not at all like succinct way of describing all of that. But it is to say, if you're thinking about 20 weeks of content that converts for Dropout, leading to what? To me, that's like a huge, semi-reliable ramp up to something that I would anticipate is new and big and risky coming out in the fall in like a shorter form heading into the winter lineup. So I'm very excited by the prospect of like, okay, we're going to get to that like sweet spot mid-September, October, when hopefully you've converted a whole whack of new subscribers and you're looking at your fall lineup and people want more, and you're able to say, this is the thing we're giving you more of. It's new, it's fresh, it's different. It's smart. It's smart. Yeah. It's almost like they know what they're doing over there. It's great.
Yeah, and it's like probably going to lead us into Nobody Asked. I'm assuming we're going to have that soon-ish. I did like a stupid little AMA, not AMA, whatever. I did a thing, like in the Instagram, you can post like, ask me a question. I did one of those, and first of all, thank you for your questions. They were great.
I always have questions for you. I literally always do.
Yeah, someone was like, when do you think Nobody Asked will premiere? And I just screenshotted the calendar and put a circle around the last 6 months of the year. Like, that's when I think it will premiere, because I think it will come out this year, and that's the end of my knowledge of it. I don't think it'll be in June, because we haven't seen a trailer for it yet. So July onward. That's my guess.
I really hope. I know there's a couple Dropout folks that do follow you. I really hope that someone saw your story and was like, oh, and like looked at what you said and then just saw you circled the rest of the calendar year, and they're like, yeah, Jordon did not have the inside scoop. He literally said anytime.
I mean, I can tell you with 100% certainty a Dropout person saw it because they messaged me a bunch of ha 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 ha.
Oh, see, exactly.
Yes.
I read that perfectly. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, 'cause even I was like, oh my God, Jordan's posting a big scoop. Then I was like, oh no, Jordan
No,
posted
it's a bit.
the 6 potential months left in the year. Nice. Oh, very well done. So Make Some Noise. I'm excited to talk through Make Some Noise with you. It'll be a very fun one to work through. Marissa's also all over Make Some Noise, so Marissa will be back to talk Make Some Noise with us. And Dropouts Presents did get pushed, I believe. It seems like it's not June 12th anymore. Do you know anything about that?
I have heard nothing, so
I saw a tweet from Hank Green that said, I've been told June 12th is too soon. So
look, they're very busy editing, as we know.
I don't know what they could be working on. Maybe just the finale of Game Changer. Okay, I want to speculate wildly about that, but let's leave it for the end of the show. Let's talk about the Emmys first. Do we
want to talk about Thousandaires coming out on Friday or on Thursday before we talk? Or Friday? Is it Friday? I didn't actually look at the schedule.
Oh, no, you know what? It is on Friday. And you want to know why I know that? Because it's premiering the same time as the Canadian Screen Awards. So don't jump in my DMs on Friday. I will not be watching live. That's a fact. I'll watch it on Saturday. But what are you anticipating from number one?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's 6 episodes because it's $5,000 cash every episode on top of everything, like cast and crew. I get why it's not that many, but it seems like it's just going to be the thing. So shout out to my YouTube, my BDG interview posted today on YouTube if you haven't watched it yet. And one of the things that BDG and I talked about was the parasocial nature of Dropout, and that unlike, say, like, content that I make on the internet where I'm trying to build like a relationship one-on-one with like the audience because that is all I can do. On Dropout, they are trying to build the relationships on set with cast members. And then we as an audience get to like fall in love with their friendships. And I think this is just a huge step toward that of just like, look, we're just going to put 5 good friends on a couch and give them $1,000 each to delight each other. And like you as the audience just get to watch people have fun. And that seems incredibly delightful. Also, huge shout out to Jess Ross, who is showrunning it.
To say that. Yeah. The tone of the show and the tone of what we see from Jess is a 1-to-1 match. Like that incredible, vibrant, like joy and like thrilled energy is exactly what Thousandaires is.
Yeah.
Dropout is exceptional at matching their showrunners to the properties that they manage.
Thousandaires, outside of Game Changer, Thousandaires has to be the most difficult show to show run because you are looking at such different things, presumably every episode, and they're like big, expensive set pieces that are coming in. Like that's a lot to do for a showrunner. And you know, like it's like that. Like Make Some Noise. Like you just gotta like stand there while they do prompts. That's all you gotta do as a showrunner. Obviously, they do more than that, but like you know, like. Like good on Jess. I'm sure it's going to be great. I'm excited.
If I might add an interview request to your ongoing list of interviewing everybody at Dropout.
Jess is on my list
Stage hands
for
for Thousandaires.
Oh yes, yeah.
Stage hands for Thousandaires. Whoever is managing that like prop room, that stage turnover, as someone in stage turnover city at the moment. Producer. Wait. As someone, it's never going to get old. I would love to hear how they manage those sets. And also keeping in mind the full assumption about how small the Dropout studios are. It seems like it is, especially when you watch Escape the Green Room and you realize how rickety and small those staircases are. Like, well, I mean, obviously we can't get the full schematics for the studio, but if anyone wants to email them to Liz, I personally would love to see them. It's incredible.
Yeah. Also, like, I know we're not getting it this week because we know who's on the list this week, but we will finally find out if Katie Maravich, the most talented person in LA Billboard, is part of this show or not. I am so excited. Like, I don't even care if it is. I just want to know the answer. If Katie just is like, this would be funny, or if Katie was like, I'm going to spend $1,000 on this of not my money. Both are funny.
Or if someone else bought the billboard for Katie specifically, and that was the whole thing. Yeah.
That would also be very good.
That would also be it. Okay. We will see what happens, and we will be back next week to talk Thousandaires. But if you're watching Thousandaires, you should let us know what you think in the comments after you see the episode so we can reflect together on what the hell this new show is bringing us, other than Vic and Lisa reunited, which Canadian audiences, let's cheer again for. I've been calling them the Canadian Tina and Amy, and I think I'm going to try and make that stick because
I really like it.
Feels right.
Look, shout out to your interview. Vic's Canadian accent really came out while you were talking to them. I was surprised when I heard it.
I'm doing some interviews this week, and there are some folks that are going to be around that either shoot in America or like they tend to do like American accents for work. It's incredible when Canadians are in a room together, how different they sound in their interviews. When I interview, there's a lot of folks that I'll be seeing that are like, they shoot on the East Coast or they shoot in Newfoundland. And the way that my own voice changes when I'm interviewing those people, when I'm doing the edits back, I'm like, who is she? Like, what the hell happened to her? So, no, it is a phenomenon here that Canadians adapt their voices to each other. And Vic's just jumped right out at me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if
right out at me.
I think it made it into one of the edits on Instagram, but there's a moment where Vic says, yeah, no, for sure. And I was trying so hard to keep it together because I was like, hello, welcome home. Let's talk about the Emmys, shall we? Let's do it.
How does a standard little streamer make sense of a world like this? How does Dropout compare in what they're doing?
The most important thing to remember about the Emmys is that it's a money game. Like every award is, like Oscars campaigns, like Grammy campaigns, so much of how you are in the conversation is around how much money you have to sustain a campaign. So for someone in the position of Dropout, it's a lot of competing with people that you will never be able to win the money games with. And I should clarify, it's not to say that you are bribing people. That's not what you're using your money for. It's paying for billboards and spots and ads and helping people go to events and travel and really put the boots on the ground of the campaign, hiring a PR firm or hiring additional PR support to run publicity for you, and paying ghostwriters and copywriters and stylists and like the whole shebang. There's an endless pool of money that can be spent on these things. And not everything can be bought though. And that is where a streamer like Dropout can win in a way that others can't. If you can get yourself into the trades, if you can get yourself into Variety, which they did, The Hollywood Reporter, which they did, these like big publications that have a lot of weight and who eventually do these really heavy hitting prediction lists in which Dropout was listed in the top 5 predictions for Game Changer and Very Important People. That is how you can play smarter, not harder. And they seem to be doing that. They seem to know where they can kind of wiggle around. And when it comes to the money game, like that's something that we'll see the tail end of come if they make it into the pool. We'll know that mid-end of June, and then come like July, August, the Emmys are in September, like that's when you start to see like who has the backing to make that long stretch of time where you have to stay relevant. So that's why a show like Make Some Noise can have such an impact. If you're thinking about longevity and keeping momentum, having your most viral show go viral when your Emmys campaign is happening. Smart people work at Dropout. Smart people work at Dropout.
Speaking of the Variety article, thoughts? What's next? So first of all, shout out to Clayton Davis. What's next? Yes.
So Variety does a lot, as does like all of the trades do. Like now they're in their pre-nomination era, and they're going to be in the nomination era when like there's all these key dates that maybe I'll put a screenshot somewhere on the screen in the post. Maybe, wow, Liz in post is going to do a really good job putting the timeline right between our faces, Jordon. But there's key dates across when nominations open and when they close, and you see coverage start to come out from key events and mixers and cocktail parties and all kinds of things happening. It's important for people to know who you are. If you go into a party and no one knows who you are, it's very hard to get coverage, because now there's kind of like a footing of like, hey, these people are shaking up these categories, like that's cool. At the end of the day, game show, and I don't even remember the name of the category, the Very Important People's nominated
Short form. Yeah.
Those are...
Which I believe is drama and comedy, which is not great for them.
So like those are not like the key Emmys beats that people tend to cover. People are concerned about like drama and comedy in the television like categories. Like we're talking The Bear, we're talking Abbott Elementary, we're talking I mean, like, House
Can
of the
we
Dragon.
talk for a second?
Yeah.
The Bear is not a comedy. Get the fuck out of here. Like, that drives me bonkers.
This is the year that people are going to be like, we're done.
Especially Seven Fishes as your nominated episode is going to be the comedy that wins. Come on. All right. Continue, please.
Listen, this is a safe space to talk about The Bear being a drama versus a comedy. And I was very much on The Bear as a comedy train for a really long time until that episode. And I was like, okay, I'm off the train now. Absolutely not. It speaks more to how the Emmys need to evolve versus how the shows themselves are able to submit. I think that, like, Dropout is a really interesting, like, indicator in categories that are not considered prime categories. Like, are they going to make a swing and vote for something different, or are they going to kind of stay in the traditional lane and choose to honor someone like Pat Sajak from Wheel of Fortune because it's his last season and, like, that whole legacy story? And I know, like, it'd be very easy for them to make a choice like that as well. So I'm interested to see if they decide to shake it up. And I think that, like, just being visible and out there and understanding that your categories are not the main, like, pies at the buffet. Like, we're talking, this is like a cute little thing on the side that some people find really delightful and some people could care less about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dungeons and Drag Queens 2, do you think it's going to be longer because they want to get that Emmy nomination for it?
This is one of those ones where, like, I think Rowan and I need to, like, come on and, like, have a debate about this with you moderating, because I think, like, there's integrity of the genre and then there's integrity when it comes to D20 leaning more into television. And in the adventuring parties, we've been hearing Brennan and the cast say, like, we're making a television show. So if that's the baseline of what they're doing now, like, this is a television show first, 100% of my gut believes that, like, the next Dungeons and Drag Queens, even though it's already been built, like, it's already on the way, it should be a 6 to 8 episode mini.
I don't think they've shot it yet. From reading that Brennan Variety interview recently, it sounded like they were about to shoot Dungeons and Drag Queens 2. So
okay, I thought they had shot it. So
I assumed as well, but I think they either have just shot it or they're about to shoot it.
I think that it is a extremely strong Emmys contender premise. Like, Drag Race does extraordinarily well. RuPaul is one of the most awarded hosts of all time for RuPaul's Drag Race. So in terms of, like, having a property that has potential and that has a foot already in the door, it's undeniably Dungeons and Drag Queens for all of Dropout's properties. So like, if I was Carlos Luna, which I'm not, but if I was Carlos, I'd be saying that shit's got to be 6 episodes minimum. Like, why would we toss it out the door before we even try?
Yeah. Do you think, I mean, boy, it's, God, that had to be such a bummer. I mean, that 4 episodes doesn't work for them. Do you think do you think they ever submit anything other than Dungeons and Drag Queens? Like, is it too obscure is not the right word, but too difficult to dive into? Like, obviously you can't submit junior year, but, like, Never Stop Blowing Up, let's say it's phenomenal, which I'm sure it will be. But like, is it too high of an entry for presumably a very older crowd of Emmy voters?
Great question. A lot of people were like, why wouldn't they submit Burrow's End? And I was like, it's very obvious why they would not submit Burrow's End. Like, the acting was phenomenal, but it is painfully hard to watch Burrow's End with zero D&D context. That is not a D&D friendly beginner show, even though, and I did have a comment on, and someone liked it recently, so I found it again. I commented on a clip of Izzy and Brennan in, like, somewhere mid-season in, like, October, being like, this is an Emmys worthy performance, and I was like, yeah, Liz in the Fall, it certainly was, wasn't it? I think, like, there's potential in how they're developing, create shows that have the mechanics that we know and love, that are a step above Dungeons and Drag Queens, that are not overly complicated and assuming you have more than base level knowledge. Like, it's got to be somewhere in between. Right.
I mean, Burrow's End was a critique of Dungeons and Dragons as a system, like, and very effective, but also, like, makes it difficult for a new viewer.
100%. And in terms of an old crowd voting audience, like, yeah, every single voting body for every single award show in mainstream media has aging voting bodies. Like, that is how this works. So it is a correct assumption to make, Jordon, that, like, we gotta, like, really think about who's voting here, because it's not Jordon and Liz. Maybe someday.
Yeah.
Maybe someday.
unlikely, but maybe.
Who knows?
How do we, the people at home, help Dropout?
The very sad and cynical answer is that, like, we can't, because these, as much as there is such fanfare for award season, there is not. It is a closed gate community in many, many respects. So there is nothing that can be done to, like, infiltrate the walls of award season unless you are in the industry. I think if you know people that are Emmys voters, which, like, lots of Nepo babies in the world, the people who know people that are Emmys winners, Emmys alum in the voting bodies, like, encouraging them to vote for Dropout. Obviously, you should be doing that. Like, talk to people that you know who can vote if you can. If you are not one of those people, which is well over the majority of people don't know someone connected to the Emmys voting bodies, or they don't know someone who's won an Emmy. There's some things that you can do, including when you see them in the trades, so like Variety, Vanity Fair, Hollywood Reporter, reply to those posts and comment and share them and, like, show the trades that they are worth reporting on, because trades will report on what gets picked up, right? So if we all go and like the post about Dungeons and Drag Queens or Game Changer or VIP, then that's a signal, hey, like, that got a lot of traction, got a lot of clicks, got a lot of shares, like, perhaps we should stay on that story. Like, that is how media works now. Unfortunately, it's not always just about the integrity of the reporting, but about what the clicks and virality is. So don't be afraid to get in the comments. That's what we're good at, team.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
Feels like what we already do anyway, right?
Yes.
So,
I mean, us specifically, yes.
Jordon and Liz specifically are in the comments of every trade publication being like, continue to report on Vic Michaela's, please.
Yes.
If you have Emmys questions as we go along, if you see things happening, always leave them in the comments, because we'll find them and we'll talk about them and we'll all learn how this works together, which is very thrilling. If you want some behind the scenes of how this shit works, this week is a big week. It's Canadian. We have 1 week, and it's the Emmys and the Oscars for Canada all wrapped into one, and it starts tonight and it goes all week. So I'll be behind the scenes of all of that. I'll be on location on Friday, so you can come see how it all works. If you want, I'll be there. And it's all the same goose egg anyway.
Are you ready for this incredible transition?
Please.
It's also the last week that a show can air to be submitted to the Emmys, which means the Game Changer finale will not be Emmy eligible for 2024. I think it's fine based on the trailer. Now, I have no concept of what wild thing Sam has in store, but if it is, though, obviously, if you've seen the trailer and the posts, it's very clearly The Circle. It's The Circle with one twist that I want to unpack with you, which is on Twitter. Sam, Game Changer, whoever, posted the tweet with the trailer and the list of people participating, and there's a rat beside everyone's name. Yeah. Look, I don't know, but so I had to look up what The Circle was. First of all, Paul Robolino posted this was a fun day of shooting, so it seems like it is not a, like, full
extended vacation.
The Circle, so Brennan did not leave a very pregnant Izzy to go shoot this for an extended period of time. But yeah, I am really curious, like, what it is that. So I also will say, because I have no idea what this is, but we've seen the picture. It was in one of the Variety pieces of Jacob, Vic, and Lou on set, which is obviously the Sam Says 3 cast. They're not in their Sam Says 3 wardrobe, and they have folders with, a circle on the front of it, but like some sort of logo on the front of it, like they are looking at. And I'm really curious if they are the non-rats, or if they are actually, like, if they're the ones, because from what I understand about The Circle, and it is very little.
Okay, I know a lot, so let's fact check.
Right.
Let's see.
Yes.
Tell me what you know.
So The Circle, people go and live in apartment buildings. They're separated from each other and the world, and they can only communicate via text. But there are other people, potentially, who are pretending to be, like, celebrities or something. I don't know. But, like, pretending to be each other. So are Vic, Jacob, and Lou in the mix pretending to be Brennan, etc. Are they there as spoilers?
I think that's a good guess. Were the facts all correct? No. But did you come back? It's like when you do a math equation and you still get to the right answer. Exactly what you just did. The premise is absolutely correct. You have people using some kind of interface to talk to one another. So there's photos, sometimes there's videos, there's emojis, a lot of texting back and forth. You can talk to, we're led to believe as viewers you can talk to anyone you want in the circle and have group chats and shit. So there's a lot of espionage in terms of like, I could start a group chat with you and someone else and then also have a sidebar with these people and try and suss out like who's lying, and you got to keep all your facts straight if you're lying to people versus if you're telling the truth the whole time. So I think there's definitely some mechanism of people playing as themselves. I think there's going to be people playing as other Dropout people, right? My question is, based on the people they revealed in the trailer, right? That feels like the core cast of people who are all, like, playing the circle game. Are they, like, this was really my genuine train of thought. If Grant O'Brien is in the circle, is he playing as himself and somebody else is also playing as Grant O'Brien? And
right.
People have to suss out who the true Grant O'Brien is of the bunch, right? Like, that would be something funny that you could, like, easily plug in. Then you have Layer 2, which is what I think you just said. You have people on the Game Changer set who are also participating in some way as, like, the rats. Very, very funny. So now and the game is...
presumably, Jess Ross in her giant lounger from the trailer that we have not... This is the first time we've seen any of the, like, them walking in the hallway stuff, but presumably Jess Ross has that in her apartment.
I'm obsessed, honestly. I've been waiting for that exact moment the whole season to figure out what the hell is going on. What Dropout cast members do you think could be the fake identities that we did not see in the trailer? So people are cosplaying as their friends. Who else is in the mix?
I mean, so I'm super curious because the cast of 6 that we saw all Dropout OG folks. Like, those are all old school college humor people. So and then obviously. We get like Jacob and Vic and presumably Lou because of Sam Says 3, but like Lou has been there the whole time as well. So I'm really curious if it's going to be another like old guard versus new blood vibe to it. Obviously the easiest impersonation is Brennan, right? Like, that's the one that you can probably get the easiest. But we've got if we're thinking old guard, you got Trap, could easily be thrown into that mix.
You got Murph.
Yeah, I got Murph and Emily, although they've just never done anything on Game Changer, so it seems unlikely as much as I would love it. But like, and then someone like Iffy, BDG in the New Blood. Those feel, Iffy especially feels like he would be right up this alley, and I wouldn't be surprised if he is revealed or fake revealed. Look, I don't understand the circle, so I don't know what's going to happen.
No, I think this is exactly where my mind was at. Like, I think Trap and Iffy are both people that would be easy for somebody else to cosplay as. Like, it'd be very easy to, like, pick up on ways that Iffy tweets, because he tweets a lot, or ways that Trap talks, because he has a very distinct cadence to the way he talks, and then mimic that as a character. I think, like, Brennan not playing as himself would be an obvious choice to make, so perhaps the more unobvious choice would be Brennan trying to play and convince people that he is himself, because it feels like an easy get in the same way of, like, there are characteristics of Brennan that other people could try to play. So to me, that's like an interesting one. I think that there's also like some sleepers in the mix. Like, I think Raph would be a really unobvious choice to cosplay as. Like, why wouldn't you believe it's him?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you believe it's Raph?
Yeah. Also, do we think Grant, the first person voted out, because he's actively unpleasant towards people, and I believe that is the premise of the show, that you rate from like most like to least like, and then least like goes, right?
Yeah, you know so much about the circle, Jordon.
Look, I read the Wikipedia after someone in my Discord was like, it's the circle, and I was like, got it, going to look that up.
I'm obsessed. You should go watch an episode, and just even if you watch the first one, it explains all the mechanisms of the show. You'll be like, aha,
perfect.
Yes, exactly as I said. yeah, I think Grant goes out early for sure is kind of the name of the game. I wonder if like the Allie Brennan rivalry from the Survivor themed episodes comes back and like they go for each other's throats, and then you have people sneak in the middle because they're too focused on one another. I could also see like Siobhan Thompson coming into this because you have all of like minus perhaps Emily and Murph, you've got like a good crew from the Dimension 20 scene in there, so toss them in. I could also see them throwing in like someone like a Hank Green who was on Dimension 20, so why wouldn't Hank Green come play something like this? Like I think there's some fringy kind of appearance people that you could find a logic chain to make it feel believable.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm so excited to
Can I admit something to you, Jordon?
Of course.
I have been vehemently like, I love reality TV. I don't know if I could ever compete on a reality TV show. I'm so competitive, and I just don't know if I could do that. The one show that makes me fold is The Circle. I think I would crush that fucking show. So the fact that Game Changer is doing it, like, I will be critiquing as someone who, the way people are like, I could win Survivor, I'm like, I could win The Circle. No problem, put me in. So... Yeah. Perhaps
in our Emmy list, I don't know if I actually ever formed this thought, but the reason why I think this episode doesn't work as an Emmy nominee is if it is a copy of The Circle and without like major changes, then who cares? They've just like mimicked something. Whereas like Sam Says 3 and Bingo are such unique and interesting like core concepts that we get immediately, but like twists on them. And obviously like you could twist The Circle, but if you need a knowledge of The Circle going into a game show category and not a reality TV show category, feels difficult. So
feels difficult, and the premise of Game Changer being you don't know the game until you show up. This feels exceptionally difficult to not know that you are playing The Circle until you show up.
For sure, they knew the game before they showed
had
up.
To have known the game. Yeah. I'm excited to see how it goes. The way that The Circle ends is that it's typically like a top 4 or top 3, and you cast your votes for who you think wins or like whatever, like whoever you want to win. And then after that, the top 4 all show up in a room and reveal to each other. And so they will know, like, oh my God, I voted for you, but I thought you were playing Brennan. So like I voted for Brennan, but really it was you, Jordon. So it's always a very dramatic finale and a very, very funny finale. So I think I'm gonna be very excited to see how the cards shake out. It's like a very chaotic, guaranteed ending. It's
gonna be a very fun 3 weeks, right? Because we'll have
Can't wait.
A week, then nothing, and then another week. Can't wait.
Yeah, it's all happening in the middle of production for me, so I'll be watching at the weirdest hours from my phone while I'm rigging. It'll be excellent.
Yeah, super fun.
Me in steel-toed boots and a hard hat watching Game Changer on my phone, like, yeah, guys, keep going, it's all good. Thrilling. I'll get something to take a photo. I can't wait to come back and debrief these ones with you, Jordon. I feel like we've got so much good stuff coming up. What a time to have started this podcast. I was saying that to you right before we started recording.
It really is, yeah.
We really nailed the timing on this. Like, Drop-In is giving and we are just receiving over here. It's great.
Yeah. What if we started a podcast about how Game Changers should win an Emmy? What's that? They have a coordinated campaine about it? Okay.
Okay, great. Yep.
June is going to be the busiest month I've ever had on Patreon. I have interviews scheduled. Well, I don't have them scheduled yet, but interviews coming up with probably like 20 different Dropout people, like some of them in groups, some of them individually, that are going to be because it used to be like you get one every Friday. This is going to be a much busier month. So
you're really getting the value for what you pay for June, folks.
June's going to be a big month. Also, there's an annual subscription you can do to my Patreon now, 10% off. I'm pulling a Dropout.
I love that. That's great. You also made the case for never skipping a week of this podcast because you interviewed Ross Bryan, and I didn't know until the clip dropped, and I had to fully exit out of my app when I saw that because Ross Bryan is a genius, and I have a million questions for him. That was a joy for you to film.
Yeah, such a genius. So, that was last Friday, I think. Yeah, he so smart, so kind, absolutely had no idea who I was, and still agreed to do an interview with me, because he's not on TikTok, so of course he doesn't know me.
Oh yeah, no context.
Yeah, but yeah, that interview is so much fun. But yeah, talked a lot about Shakespeare, talked a lot about Lucian, talked a lot about Make Some Noise, talked so much about the Duck family. It was really surprising how much he loves the Ducks, which is delightful.
Kind of a thrill to uncover something like that in a time-boxed interview. It's like, oh, we're really going down the rabbit hole of the half hour I've got with you to like talk about ducks. So you can watch that on Jordon's Patreon. I'll link it below for easy access. Also, the Izzy Roland podcast. Is it continuing? Because Izzy was not happy that people did not vote correctly.
Yeah, so I made a poll that was like, should Izzy and I make a podcast? The options were yes and emphatic yes. More people voted yes than emphatic yes, so Izzy is out. She was very mad that not enough people voted emphatic yes. I don't know. Izzy was another one that dropped last week, and truly, someone described it in the comments that it's like the second episode of Watch Me Become Best Friends with Someone, which is obviously like the Vic series, where like Izzy and I just like laughing and having fun for an hour, and yeah, it was absolutely delightful. But no, currently no plans to do a new interview, although I have immediately pestered them about like coming back on.
People want it. Just saying, the people want it. There's not a lack of audience for this.
No,
please, in fact. Anyway, I'll leave that with you. But
I guess I did set up. They're probably going to be doing a Kickstarter or some sort of fundraising for post production on Dead, the movie that she wrote.
Oh, really?
And so I was like, look, whenever that's happening, you come back here, we'll talk about it, and I'll promote the hell out of it. So that's the plan.
I'm obsessed. That's a perfect plan. One thing that I've really been enjoying lately on that note is how many of the same press releases we now get, which means when I get something cool in my inbox, I get to go to you and be like, did you also get this? And you get to say, yeah, I did. And then we get to talk about it. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But there's lots percolating in the universe that Jordon and Liz are steaming around. So
yes,
that's thrilling. This week, I mean, the Vic interview's up. If you haven't seen that,
it's so good.
I'm shocked that you watched an hour of Jordon and Liz talking and you didn't see that. Thank you for screening it first before I allowed the world to see it as Vic's official best friend. I had to get the check mark before everyone else saw it. But that is up. We wanted to flag the very funny Reddit thread about the interview, which was very, very kind. And Jordan said, you commented, I would watch very important Canadians and travel to all the places they discussed. And then someone commented back about Sudbury, Ontario. Hilarious. Listen, if you want a cross Canada road show, I'll pitch it to Vic. We'll see if Vic's coming home and we'll make it happen. But you can subscribe on YouTube for more interviews because, oh boy, there's going to be 10 bazillion hopefully after this week from the Screen Awards. Lots going on there and lots that we're not talking about yet. So that's all I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say. Also, Lisa Gilroy commented on the clip on Instagram that we shared, and I'm not parasocial for too many people, but I did smile in the middle of Costco when I saw that. So that was thrilling, and I wanted to share it publicly. So that's my week. We'll see you next time on the Dropout Drop-In. Anything else we want to say before we go?
I don't think so.
We did it.
We did it. Look at us.
Look at us. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? We'll see you next time.